order. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
United States of America,
to the republic
for which
One
it
nation,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
here.
Commissioner Landgraf?
Here.
Mayor Holtzman?
Here. Pursuant to the Open Publics Meeting Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the law. Okay, the first thing we have on our agenda this evening in our workshop portion is a presentation. It's a special recognition for an incident on May 30th, 2020, water rescue on Frankfurt Avenue. And Commissioner Kriebel, who is over public safety, he is going to read the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
On Saturday, May 30th, 2020, at approximately 4:30 p.m., two young females alerted the Suffolk Avenue lifeguards of a victim in trouble on Amherst Avenue, approximately 0.3 miles away, currently an unguarded beach. So that was before all the beaches were formally open. The ocean was extremely rough with large waves and various riptides up and down the shoreline. A young man was caught in a riptide, and two additional gentlemen had gone out after him to attempt to help him. Lifeguard Vinnie Mahoney alerted headquarters of the situation via radio, sent lifeguard Charlie Buckley down with a can to respond with lifeguard Patrick Milligan in a boat. Lieutenant Patrick Finnery responded to the scene on a quad, followed by Lieutenant Megan Holland, responded on a jet ski. Lifeguard Buckley ran down the beach and swam out into the water to the victims roughly 60 yards out and kept them afloat until assistance arrived. Lifeguards Mahoney and Milligan arrived immediately after the boat, rowed up to Lifeguard Buckley with the victims, and navigated the large rough waves to help stabilize the victims safely until Lieutenant Holland arrived on scene with the jet ski. By this point, all three victims were unable to make it back to the beach of their own accord. Lifeguard Buckley secured the victims on the sled of the jet ski. Lieutenant Holland drove them back to the beach. On the beach, Lieutenant Finnery assisted in bringing the primary victim out of the water and handed him off to Ventnor City Fire Department, EMS, who provided care and transport to Atlantic Care Hospital. The total effort included lifeguard from the lifeguards, Lieutenant Megan Holland, Lieutenant Patrick Finnery, lifeguard Vinnie Mahoney, lifeguard Charlie Buckley, lifeguard Patrick Milligan from the fire department, engine number 1, Deputy Chief Brady Middlesworth, and firefighter Fred Nahas. Truck 1 was Captain Kyle Smith, firefighter Mike Trippishin, ambulance 2, firefighter Eric Koob, and firefighter Anthony Ventura. And police also assisted, Officer Ryan Sanislow, Class 2 Officer Alan Frederick, Officer Stephanie Lemaine, Officer Michael Newell, and Lieutenant Lewis Cable was on the scene. One thing to keep in mind, even when all our beaches are fully staffed, always swim near a lifeguard. Always swim between the stands. If there is a rip current, swim parallel, tread water, but swimming near a lifeguard is the best thing you can do. And in this case, even though they were not near a lifeguard near Amherst Avenue, the entire team did exactly what public safety trains to do, and they did it efficiently and in an excellent a manner that should be commended. So we're all very proud of their
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and just to add, just something I learned when I was younger, my father brainwashed all of us to respect the ocean. And I think people need to know the ocean is beautiful, but it's powerful to respect.
Very much so.
Okay. Anybody else? Lance?
Great job by all. I had the chance to talk to Charlie and Patty this past weekend with Evan, and you know, it's just it's amazing what these kids do, and they're kids.
That's
kids
right.
doing this. And what he said was it was a team effort, and that's exactly what it was.
Right.
It was great job by all.
Excellent.
I have to move because my phone's going to die. It's not keeping a charge, so don't, just excuse me. Sorry. Okay. All righty. So we're good. Do we have anybody from Beach Patrol on, Tim?
I see. I don't see Andy Bryant.
No.
Mahoney. Yeah.
My mom's computer though, so my name's not popping up. This is Vinny Mahoney.
Thank you very much, sir.
Who's that?
You worked that day.
Who is that?
Vinny,
Mahoney.
Hi, Vinny.
how you doing?
Oh, we don't get to see you.
I haven't used Zoom often. I'm trying to figure this out here. I use the Google stuff instead, but for my school.
Right. Well, thanks for your efforts that day, and you got a great leader with Chief Bergman and the whole
Yes.
team. There you are.
There it is.
and how about Lieutenant Holland jumping in and
Yeah.
it's done, right? Good for her. Thanks again.
Total group effort.
Somebody needs to put it in the press.
And Nanette's here. Nanette's listening.
That's great.
Annette, you listening?
Nanette's on there.
Hey, Vinny, what time did this happen?
It was roughly around like 4:30. It was almost at the end of the day.
Oh, okay, because I was on headquarters and I didn't see
It must happen like right after you left probably, because I noticed that it was towards the end. A lot of people ended up clearing off the beach, but
Yeah,
that
I
was.
there. I get to see you now. It's funny. I'm like, wait a minute. I was there. How could I didn't see anybody running? No activity. And now I know
Yeah.
why. Must have just left.
Yep.
She did. You just left.
Thank God, because I would have been back.
Yeah, it was intense.
Thanks, Vin.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on now.
Yep.
All right. Do we have any department heads reports? I saw that Ernie was there, and who else was with us tonight? Ernie, I know Al, but I know why. Is Ernie here for any report or no?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
just.
Hi, Ernie. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ernie. You're doing a great job for us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You do a wonderful job. Thank you. Okay, capital discussion. We're not dealing with anything there tonight, right? Nope. Okay. We do not have any minutes. We do not have any ordinances to introduce. We will have a public hearing and an adoption on ordinance 2020-012, which was discussed at the last meeting that I was absent at. So it's authorizing a long-term lease between the city of Ventnor and as a landlord to Shalom House Development. So I don't know if you want to add it. Anybody wants to add anything to that tonight?
I can, Mayor, if you'd like.
Please.
So this will kind of come full circle for me. I worked on the relocation of Swarthmore Avenue 27 years ago, I think it was now. 27, 28 years ago. So this is the portion that remained out in front of Shalom House, kind of land that was in limbo. It's between our right-of-way and Shalom. There was no clear title to it. So the city took ownership of it. So with the help of Solicitor McGuire, we have been able to come up with a land lease, long-term lease, 50-year lease with Shalom House that they're going to use it for landscaping, parking, and they will maintain the area, which is really a plus for us. I'm sorry? So that's it in a nutshell. It's taken quite a long time. Not on our part, it was more on Shalom House. They had some refinancing issues that they could not enter into a lease for the last 2.5 years. So now they're able to do it, and their attorney reached out to Tim, and we got it done in the last, I think, 2 months, right, Tim?
Correct, yes.
So thank you for that. It makes me feel good that can finally get off of our maintenance issue, and I can take it off Ed's plate.
You can wipe it off your whiteboard, Lance.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I know it was discussed last meeting, but people might be out there that weren't in there, so I thought we should explain it a little bit.
No, I have no problem doing it.
Thanks. The next is, will be a public hearing and an adoption of ordinance 2020-13013. And that is setting forth the city of Ventnor's procedure with regard to specific post-offer and pre-employment checks, meaning drug testing, background, physical when needed, and driver's license. Am I correct? Is there anything else in there?
I'll
No?
defer to Maria, but I think that's what it was.
Tim, we okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Unmute. It also deals with seasonal employees.
Okay.
Okay.
Any employees, right? All right,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Okay, the next, we will have resolutions to vote on by consent, and I'll run through them. It's resolution 2020-194 through 2020-204. So the first one is 2020-194, and that is the city entering into a revocable license agreement concerning property located at 36 North Weymouth Avenue. Anything on that? Anybody have any questions?
No, Ed's taking a look at it. I think, Tim, you've reviewed it. We're good there.
Yep.
Yeah, I looked at it. It looks fine. It's regarding a condominium back there.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, the next is 2020-195, and that's authorizing the city to refund $850 for a water connection permit. That was something, I guess the person, why would, Al or?
Ernie. Ask Ernie to comment on it.
Yeah.
Ernie, you still with us?
So if you don't mind, what happened
Okay.
was we in the clerk's office, we take the water permits and the sewer connection permits. And at that time they paid for it, but there was a connection there already that they were able to tie into. So they didn't need that connection after all.
Gotcha.
So it's just refunding that portion of it.
Makes
Thank you.
sense.
Thank you. Okay, the next is 2020-196, and that's amending resolution 077 of 2020, awarding Ferriazzi Concrete to repair the 3 storm drain inlets at Nashville Avenue and Ventnor Avenue, Surrey Avenue and Winchester Avenue, and Harvard Avenue adjacent to house number 804 in the city of Ventnor. So it says amending, is this increasing it? Do we know exactly?
Yes.
Okay.
There were, and I can't get to the data for some reason. When Jim puts up this agenda, I can't get to
The background?
Hold on. I can get it here. Never mind. I gotta go to my other computer.
Right
Yeah,
here,
so
Mom.
it's a 3 storm drain inlets. During work, determined that inlet castings were cracked. New casting, $900 in fees for that, for a total revised amount of $20,750.
Thank you.
$900 increase.
Gotcha. Okay. Tim, you okay with that?
Yes.
Commissioner Kriebel? Okay. Next is resolution 2020-197. And this is reclassifying titles for certain employees under revenue and finance. This is, it doesn't give us any names or titles. I guess we don't have to be that specific. I don't know if people want to know, but there's a lot of the next couple. There's that 1, 2,
If you
3,
look at the
4.
backup, Mayor, all the names are in there.
I didn't. I couldn't find the names.
You
I
want
don't
to
know
read
what,
it to you?
I don't know. I think there was a squirrel that did something with my packet, okay? Because I went through and I couldn't find it. But for the public out there, for their information, is we, well, working with civil service for the years that I was there, I worked for the county. I knew when we started 4 years ago, Commissioner Kriebel, Commissioner Landgraf, and myself, that the employees across the city were in titles that were, did not make sense. So last year, we hired a consultant who was a retired civil service specialist for the state of New Jersey to look at each person's jobs, functions, tasks, responsibilities, and classify them in the proper title under civil service. So that's what 2020, 197, 198, 199, 200, and 200 and 201. They're different departments. The one though, 199 is actually, I'll go back. 97 and 98 are reclassing people in revenue and finance. And then Resolution 2020-199 is different. That's amending the Resolution 161, temporarily appointing Deanna Jackson as our court administrator. 2020-20 is public affairs and public safety, reclassifying their titles. And then 2021 is reclassifying titles in public works. Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Now, along with this reclassification, they still have to sit for the civil service testing, correct?
Yes.
Right, Maria? Al, right?
Yes.
That's up to
Correct.
civil service. The civil service may decide that they don't need to do a test.
Civil service either does a test or they do it based on their application and experience, right? Okay.
Right.
But by us reclassifying, they're not yet certified by civil service in that title.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Next, and if there's anything in their contracts related to money, that doesn't come until they're certified and in the title after so many months. Am I correct?
Yes.
Partially, yep.
Okay. All right. So next, all right. I said that so the public knows what's going on, so it might deter some questions afterwards if we give as much as we can. All right. Next is resolution 2020-201, and that is appointing Dino Cavaliera to assistant construction officer. Am I correct? Official?
Yes.
Correct.
And this is for secession, which we feel that people in the city, as they work for years, they should, if they're qualified and they do the job and they have the knowledge, they should be put in a position to be able to replace someone if and when they retire. Correct?
Yes, can I add something, Beth? We also had our independent civil service consultant interview Dino to get an independent perspective on what he does, and that this is the appropriate
Okay.
for him, okay?
Yeah, so it was dual. Great.
Yep.
All right. So it was backed up by the civil service specialist. which
Yes,
is
yep,
great. That's great. All right. The next is 2020-201. And this is a resolution allowing the city of Ventnor to expand outside seating for restaurants during the COVID-19 pandemic shutdown of commercial businesses in Jersey. In the actual resolution, the extra lances, it will give they'll have more available space to have outside tables. Am I correct?
That's correct. We're creating options for our restaurateurs. I'll talk a little more about in commissioner's comments later on, but
Okay.
I spoke to almost all of our restaurant operators or owners today. It made me hungry. Talking to all these guys making food, but this will open up the sidewalks for them a little more than they're allowed to now. There's some other options that we're working on as well that will come subsequent to this evening's meeting, but this at least allows them to, operate in front of their neighbor's property if their neighbor has given them permission. Allows them to go down the side street next to them if they are on a corner. I will say that the county reached out. A lot of our restaurants are on Ventnor and Dorset Avenue, certain sections of Ventnor Avenue and Dorset. They will have to get, if they're going to use part of the right-of-way, that's the county right-of-way, they're going to have to file a hold harmless form with the county. If you need that form, we have it. The county has it. You can reach out to either Lisa or myself, or even Donna Peterson, our OEM coordinator, has that form for you to fill out. It's very simple, one-page document. So,
Thank you. I'd just like to add, because I know I've seen things out there on social media talking about, and I know Hoboken and Ridgewood are using their streets. I haven't been in Hoboken, but I know what Ridgewood looks like, and that's not Ventnor. And just for the public, and Commissioner Kriebel can add to this, but closing off streets, I mean, it sounds great, and we wish we could do it as the governing body of our city, but it's not reasonable. The first thing is people, we have a parking problem already. So to do that, you take away parking.
Well,
The other
Beth,
thing
it's not completely out of the question. So we are looking at options. That's why I said we're throwing a lot of options out there. We cannot close Dorset Avenue. We cannot close the county section of Ventnor Avenue. The county
Right.
will not allow that, and the state of New Jersey will not allow it because it's a bus route. We've been
Right.
able to do it for short periods of time for our parade. We're able to do it on a one-day basis for our block party the last couple of years, but we cannot do it on a continuing basis for restaurants to set up in those streets. I have, as I said, I talked to a lot of our restaurateurs today. Their concern is the parking. So there are ones that don't want to close off some of the parking areas. Others, we're still looking at that option, not closing the street, but closing off maybe the parking areas. We're still looking at that. So I don't want you to put it out.
Okay.
We're not looking at any of that
Right.
while we are.
Right, but to close off streets, that's not happening.
I don't know that I would go quite that far at this point.
Okay. All
So
right.
you made a comment of continuing basis. So I guess the question is, what kind of a basis can we
So
entertain that close? Entertain it? Is it a?
Ventnor Avenue is a no-go. Ventnor and Dorset, not at all. Can't do it. They won't allow it.
On a regular basis, but we have done it in the past on an event type basis.
Correct. For a single day event, we can do that. That's certainly we can do, but not something that they would entertain on a recurring basis, which is what the restaurants are looking for.
Understood.
We have looked in certain instances about some of the side streets, closing portions of them, but we're not there yet. I had a good meeting with Donna Peterson and Chief Biaggi today. Spoke to them at length about it. There's a couple options that might possibly work. So we're talking to those restaurateurs and we will get through that. Again, this is what I was going to talk about in the
Okay.
commissioner's comments, but I didn't want to be taking words out of the mayor's mouth. So
No, that's okay. No, I just wanted, people need to realize out there that, they say close the streets. It's not that easy. That was my point, Lance. Like you said, Dorset
Agreed.
Avenue, Ventnor Avenue can't happen. If you close any street or you do anything like that, you need police on both ends, which is additional overtime, which is additional money. So
Right.
there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's not that easy. So that was what I was trying to say.
Okay.
So
All right.
we'll do whatever we can in the powers that we have to be able to do it. So, all right, Commissioner Kriebel, you have anything on that?
No, but I'm curious to talk about it some more, I'm sure. And I believe I see Stella was on the call, so I'm sure he's interested in hearing about that as well.
Yep.
Okay, the next resolution is 2020-204, and that is authorizing our purchasing agent to prepare plan specifications and publicly bid a concession stand snack food cart for the Ventnor City Pier for the period of July 13th through November 30th. And this would be not ice cream. We're not interfering with ice cream. It's not a food. We're not doing a full-blown food cart, right, Maria? It's basically like coffee. Like it's not going to take
Snacks.
away from the rest.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay.
Snacks.
Snacks. Right.
Snacks.
So it doesn't take away.
Coffee,
from
right, Tim? Maybe coffee, maybe, light drink. Not alcohol, of course, but
No, that's a different cart.
yeah.
So I could go into this a little bit. There are food items listed, fruits, soft drinks. We're trying to open it to bakery items, prepared sandwiches. Everything on it is prepared. We're trying to avoid any actual cooking on site. There's a couple of items in this that I think we need to discuss as a group before, as it goes through the process, that are, kind of judgment calls on our part. Is this the right time to bring it up just to the group? Is that all right? There's a couple items in here that I'd like to get a consensus on and an agreement on.
Sure.
Sure.
And some of this is boilerplate that other cities have used. And Kathy's done a great job of organizing it. there's a couple things that concern me. One is that there's a clause that says vendors failing to abide by the contract regarding days of operation would be assessed a penalty fine of $75 per day if they fail to open and provide. And it also gives them the hours in which they're required to be opening. My feeling is that this is kind of a beginning, a trial. It's a bit of an experiment on our part, and I don't want to make it any harder for them. I don't think it's in our interest to fine them. I'd ask Tim what his take in on why that is necessary. I guess maybe if the contract goes sideways and they just disappear, that kind of language might be more relevant, but this seems to be putting an unfair onus on them if they decide that it's a rainy day, or if it's not, if it's only working on the long weekends to stay open. So I'd like to soften that, make it more, if that's possible. And then also we have to come up with a minimum bid. What we think is appropriate as a minimum bid for this that would be paid out, and 10% with the proposal, 15% sort of midsummer, 50% at the end of the summer, and then a balance at October 1st, which is when the contract kind of winds down. But the idea is to engage, is to give people more reasons to come out there. The pier build bathroom is going to be finished soon. It's going to be a nicer location. And the last thing I want to add to this that I did not see in the ordinance is that I'd like some assurances on the design of the cart, at least a drawing or a photo. I'd like to see that it's something that we can be proud of, and and attractive aesthetically, and not just a table, even if it's a stand of some kind. I think we need to see that design before we approve it.
Okay.
So looking at the resolution, all that is really authorizing the purchasing agents to prepare those plans and specs. So
Right.
I think this is the start, right, that gives us the opportunity to do what you're looking to do, Tim?
Correct.
All right.
So those are the things that I see, and I just wanted to keep that on your minds as we go forward.
Good.
Those are the judgment calls that I think we'd like to see.
Right. So we're authorizing Kathy to do
Correct.
the plans. But when she does it, she needs the specifications, which is the things that you just mentioned.
Yeah, she needs to iron those things out.
It's written, and we reviewed it, Tim and I reviewed it, and so what he's talking about are some open areas that we need to make a decision on, so that you can get this out on the street.
You want that right now?
Well, you want it out there soon because it's
Yeah, but I'm not comfortable hearing these concerns right now that I got to make a decision on.
Well, I'm not saying right now. I'm just saying you probably want to think about it and
like by Monday or Tuesday, I'm fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just authorizing the discussion really at this point. Right?
Yeah, okay.
We're not pinned into these decisions, but like Maria said, I want to get it on your radar so you can start thinking about it.
So we can get it in the paper and get people to start quoting on it.
Right.
I'm good with that.
And,
I think by middle of next week, we should have those things ironed out and get it out in the paper.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Sounds good. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So the next we will vote on our bills, approve the bills and payrolls by our CFO, Al. So the next item on the agenda is discussion items. Do we have any? I don't see any unless the squirrel ate that too out of my packet. Do we have anything in writing?
We had outside dining was the one item
Okay.
that I saw on the list. And like I said, I've kind of took the lead on this a little bit, met with city engineer Ed Stinson, Chief Biaggi, Donna Peterson, our OEM, talked through some of the issues with Maria, and then really reached out to, the list of restaurants is about 30 long. Some of those, Custards, I didn't get a chance to talk to him today. But I spoke to most of our restaurant owners today to get their input. What do you need? What don't you want? those kind of things. And what we were thinking, in the most part, was what they were thinking. Expanded sidewalk dining. Certainly some asks for some of the streets to be closed down, or at least portions of the streets to be closed down. But for the most part, there was only a few that asked about that. They were more concerned about losing parking spaces. And a lot of them, several of them, are really focusing on takeout. I don't want to call them out individually, but a lot of the guys are just focusing on takeout, and that closing down the parking out front would cause issues with that, because that's where people would pull up, jump out of the car, grab the stuff, and then take it home.
Right.
A real interesting idea, and I think Mayor, this person reached out to you as well, was to use either some of the public parking lot that we have on Newport that'll be finished up rather soon, and or some other properties that are vacant, not necessarily city owned, for kind of a little takeout area where it would just, you set up picnic tables out there, and a lot of the places in that vicinity could use it as a socially distanced dining area, kind of a communal place where you could order to that spot. Hey, you order on your phone. Hey, I'm wearing the yellow shirt. I'm sitting over here in the Newport Avenue parking lot. Can you deliver? So that kind of stuff was pretty outside the box thinking, I thought, from some of our restaurateurs. So,
I remember I told you it's beautiful. It's redone. It's paved, and it's wide open.
So there are some concerns there. We've had a delay with getting lighting there. We cannot open that parking lot without having lighting. Yes, it's going to be light till 8:30, 9 o'clock, but as a municipality, it's a public lot. We have to have it lit to a certain standard, half-foot candle to 1-foot candle throughout the entire parking lot. We cannot rely on the sun going down each evening to provide that lighting. So we got a notice today that lighting is going to be delayed a few weeks. So if that comes in, we can do it, and we're all good. If it doesn't, we really can only do it during the daylight hours. So it becomes a little bit of a problem. But we're looking at options.
I think that's a great way to try to a great possibility. I think it could be very successful. And in my mind, I know parking has always been a hot topic, but I feel like if there's other alternatives like this, if you design a space for cars, you get cars. If you design a space like this for pedestrians and outside dining, that's what we'll get. And I think it could be it could help the city and the businesses. So
I think it's perfect timing that it now doesn't look like a parking lot. It just looks like a big open, pretty piece of property.
Well, it'll look like a parking lot in the next couple of days. You're going to have striping in there. You're going to have wheel stops. You're going to have some things in there that'll make it look back like a parking lot again. But that's an option we're looking at, and I appreciate that gentleman bringing that up. And it wasn't the only person who said something like that. So looking at options. Some of the other things I talked about with Donna and Doug need some more cooking, if you'll pardon the pun. But we're looking at kind of a weekly event that we might be able to have set up at our public properties, where all the restaurants in Ventnor can come and set up and have a weekly event there and try and do something with that. So I don't want to get too far down the road on that, because it's very much the infancy stage, but a lot of interest today from our restaurants in doing something like that.
Very good. That's good. Great.
I'd like to add in the mix the idea of city-owned parklets that we could move from place to place on some of those cross streets that are not off of Ventnor, some of those cross streets, something that might not be this summer, but I think that extra seating that is open to the public for the same types of things, for takeout, on off hours. And yes, it takes a parking place, but it's worked in other cities that where it actually engages more people for traffic, and it brings more people to those downtown.
I agree, Tim. Those were cool designs that you showed me. Philly's got some. Seattle's got some really neat ones. Even New York City has some.
Yep. Phoenix has an entire workbook with all the specs and shop drawings. Yeah.
Yep. Phoenix
And if
was-
we were to do just one or two to start out, I think in this environment with COVID opening up to the outside dining, that we could get, we could somehow work out a way that restaurants could have them individually if the right approvals were there. But the city could. We scoped out months ago, months before this. Chief Biaggi and I did a drive-through throughout the city when we did approach the county, and there are 3 or 4 or 5 cross streets that are not on their radar, or that the city could do these parklets out, and it would improve the same kinds of things, takeout, or they have to be open to the public. But I think there's a way to raise both ideas up.
Agreed. We're
So
good.
it's a work in progress.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. We good? Ready to move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
All right. So the next is the public portion. So this is for anyone out there that would like to speak on any of the items that we've discussed, and we will be voting on as soon as we go into the regular part of our meeting. So do I have a motion to open to the public portion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. It's now
If
open.
anybody from the public has any questions on any of the items that are being voted upon, please either use your raise hand function within the reaction section or in the chat section, and I will unmute you and you can be called upon.
I did talk to Vinny today at Stella. If he has any questions about it.
Yeah, I spoke to him the other day, not today, but he's certainly interested in doing something.
Right.
Jim, there's nobody out there that wants
Nope.
to speak? Okay. Do I have a motion to close public portion?
Someone just came on.
Sorry. Did this work? Hold on.
Yes.
There you go.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
There he is.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Can
Vinny.
you, whoever that is, can you please state your name and your address for us, please?
Absolutely. My name's Vincent Lobianco, and our address is 7303 Ventnor Avenue. And I'm calling from Stella. And we were just really interested as far as getting, we were very interested in a lot of the seating that you guys were speaking about. The parklet idea, we love that, and any type of expanded seating as far as us being able to expand in front of our neighbors and do that just to make up for any lost time and lost of the season would be absolutely awesome, and kind of how we can work and maneuver in that. We like on a night like tonight, would we be allowed to have like tents that come down, things like that we would bring down at the end of the night and things like that. I didn't know if that's possible, if there's some sort of permit or something that we have to file for.
So the tents are a little bit troublesome because of the sidewalk issue. You have to maintain the sidewalk being open.
Okay.
As long as you can keep the sidewalk open, I don't think, I would let Jimmy Agnesino see what your plan is, our construction code official.
Okay.
And go through that process. I don't necessarily object to it. I know not a restaurant, but I know Tom Harris Jewelers had one out last year, and it was not a problem. You could get underneath it. You could walk through there. So yeah, tonight would be a little challenge. I think the wind's blowing that rain sideways a little bit, but
Yeah.
certainly something we're willing to talk about, Vincent.
Okay.
I-
Because we are trying to figure out a plan. We're a mostly reservation-based restaurant. So and I have an awning, but under that awning I can really fit 4 tables. So we're like between in front of our neighbors, which is Florida Cold Cuts, or if we were able to go into the parking space in front of our restaurant. That would be a huge benefit, and I don't know exactly the best way to go about it.
So some of the ideally, if you can keep the tables on the sidewalk, would be the best way to handle this. So if Florida Cold Cuts is amenable to you doing that, that's certainly fine with the city. You'd have to probably provide him with a hold harmless agreement. And if you are using part of the right-of-way of Ventnor Avenue, because you're on that county section, you will have to fill out that application form, because you don't own out to the curb. I don't know if you're aware of that. So there's a portion probably very close to your building that is the county right-of-way. So you're going to have to file that application with the County of Atlantic. Reach out to Lisa or Donna tomorrow. You can get that filed with them really quick. The aspect of parking or putting tables in the street is difficult, because you would have to use concrete barriers along the outside of that parking space.
Okay.
And that's something that you guys, as the restaurant owners, would have to rent, buy, do whatever, and have them placed out there. We're not objectionable to it. It's just not something the city can pay for.
Okay. And is there a certain dimension of the cement divider or barrier that would need to be?
Jersey barriers. There's a standard. They're known locally as Jersey barriers. They're probably 36 inches high, like probably 8 feet long, and it's solid concrete.
Okay. And would that need to be the full like perimeter, or just where the traffic is coming from?
We'd have to look at each individual location.
Okay. All right.
Vince?
Yes.
Hi, it's the mayor. I just want you to know, and all the restaurants out there, I mean, you know, Commissioner Kriebel, Commissioner Landgraf, and I, like, we're doing everything we possibly can, not just for the outside seating. I was lucky, but he probably wasn't. I was able to speak to the Murphy's chief of staff on Monday, and through the conversation, you know, just about begging. Look at Lance laughing, talking about. Yeah, talking to him
how that
about,
conversation must have gone.
Oh, well, I told you the poor man probably wanted to hang himself when it was done. But the one thing he said to me, which I made sure I clarified, which I thought was really important, was he said, well, Beth, you know, or Mayor, he said, you know, I know the Jersey Shore, the summer starts July 4th. And I stopped him and I said, wait a minute, George. I said, it used to be 4th of July. For the longest time I can remember, it was Memorial Day, and over probably the last 15, 20 years, it was 4th of July. I said, however, our season is now. And I said to him, because all the second homeowners and all the visitors have been here since March. So we are not pre-season right now this week, today, Monday, when I spoke to him. I said, we are in our season residency and the population in Ventnor. So it's not just us, it's probably all the Jersey Shore towns. So I made that really clear, because I was really pushing for indoor seating to start soon. So I just want you to know that we are doing, you know, it's not something that we put out there. We say everything that we're doing behind the scenes to help, but we are. And I'm glad I did get a chance to speak to him, because the mindset is it's not till 4th of July, and that's 3 weeks away or longer. And that's not the beginning of our season. They're here now.
Yeah, for many, many years, I get it. And we were kind of conditioned. It's really been the past several that were like, oh no, it's actually like a full season now, which is wonderful.
It is.
And then let alone, with, you know, kids, we always followed it. And I have 2 little sisters myself who are still in school and everything. And we always followed our hours based off of when kids got out. As soon as kids are out of school, it's like, the gloves are off and everybody comes down.
Exactly.
So.
But the gloves have been off since March and April. You know, people have been coming here because even though the kids, if they're in school, it's virtual. They can do it anywhere, and they'd rather be here, you know, near the ocean, the boardwalk, and be, which is great. So I made that clear that it's now. It's not 4th of July, because I'm pushing for the indoor seating to happen sooner than later. So we're trying. All right.
And then, so as far as moving forward, so tomorrow I should reach out to the city clerk's office and you said it was a harmless agreement or a harmless?
Hold harmless. The county, because it's in the county right of way, you have to hold them harmless for anybody tripping, falling, getting hurt, injured on essentially their property.
Okay, and then I would do the same thing for my neighbor.
Yes.
Okay, and then is there anything that I can do to point him towards the city? As far do I still need an approval from
So-
him?
From Jimmy Agnesino, I would reach out to Jimmy, and he will take a look at what your proposed plan is, and he will give you either an approval or say you got to do this, that, and the other thing.
I think he means the neighbor, Lance.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can't control the neighbor. I mean, he's.
But what type of approval does he need from him? Just verbal?
If I'm the neighbor, I'm going to ask him for a hold harmless agreement and an insurance rider on the property.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Cool.
But that's
Yeah,
up to your
and
neighbor. I can't speak for him. If I own the property, that's what I would say.
Right.
Okay.
Are you good, Vic?
I think from
Good.
a city standpoint, from a safety standpoint, I'll talk to Biagi. I think that those downtowns could use some of those, the type of traffic calming, median type signage that they put in some downtowns that just slow traffic down right on the yellow line. It keeps people from, just from a safety and a comfort level. I'll talk to him about that.
We had them in the streetscape and they all get
You know what I
run
mean?
over. Yeah, we had them in the streetscape
They got
project.
run over.
They all got run over.
I believe
Uh,
I feel like I get.
I believe it. You
But-
see him. You see him in other downtowns. You see him in like the
Well,
LBI.
Hamilton has them. They have them all over the place.
Yeah, Ventnor's just the racetrack, I guess. Sometimes.
I think we can locate them in a better location and put them mid-block instead of at the intersection. What happens is when
Right.
people are turning, they're cutting that corner and they're running over them.
Um,
So I've talked to Ed about it. We're going to find a better location for them. But I agree, we can put them down in this location too.
Especially
Okay.
some of the stuff. Yeah. All right.
All right. Cool.
Thanks. Thanks, Vinny.
Thank you
Thank
guys for the
Thanks,
time.
Vincent.
Have a good one.
You too. Anybody else out there, Jim?
Let's see, but anybody else with any questions on any items that are going to be voted upon that have been heard, please use your raise
Hi,
hand.
Beth.
Hello?
Hello.
Someone
Hi,
call
it's Maria.
iPhone.
Hello.
Please, we can hear you. Please state your name and address.
It's Maria Gatter from the Red Room Cafe.
Oh, hi, Maria.
I
Hi, how are
recognize
you? My hand is on this button here. So I
We
have a
can hear-
question. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, we hear you, love.
So am I able to close Monmouth Avenue
So you're not.
for
No.
outside seating? I don't know.
So you can't do that. We have looked. I talked to Jack today. I don't know if you had a chance to speak to him.
No.
So I spoke to him today, and that's one of the things I talked about with potentially partially closing that street, not all of it.
Right.
Maybe just your side of that and make it one way towards Dorset.
Sure.
But that would require you guys to rent those concrete barriers and put them in place to block off that area to vehicular traffic and to protect that
Okay.
area. I am in the process of working with our city engineer to get pricing and a contact of where you can rent those. So I told Jack I'd get back to him on that.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hoping to be able to help you, Maria.
Anybody else out there, Jim?
No. Anybody else have any items that is being voted upon?
Okay. Do I have a motion to close public portion?
So moved.
Second.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to close workshop portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now I'm going to call to order our regular portion of the meeting. The first is we do not have any approval of minutes. We do not have, the next is ordinances. We have no introductions. So the first item for action is we have a public hearing on ordinance 2020-012. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion to open public hearing on ordinance 2020-012.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's now open to the public if anyone would like to speak on ordinance 2020-012.
Did anybody from the public have any questions on this ordinance?
No?
Motion to close, Mayor?
Motion to close public hearing.
So
Second the
moved.
motion.
Second?
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the ordinance adoption of 2020-012. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2020-012.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langgraf?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Next is a public hearing on ordinance 2020-013. Do I have a motion to open to the public?
Motion to open public ordinance 2020-013.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is now open for ordinance 2020-013.
Okay, Mr. Kreischer was trying to ask some questions during the workshop, but he was not, I did not see his hand. Do you want me to have him speak now or wait till the regular public portion?
Do it at the end because this is a public hearing.
Okay,
This should only be,
that's what I thought.
this should only be on this topic.
Yep.
Okay. You don't see anybody, Jim?
No.
Motion to close public hearing on ordinance 2020-013.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is the adoption of ordinance 2020-013. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2020-013.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langgraf?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Next, we have resolutions to adopt by consent, and they are resolutions 2020-0194 through 2020-204. Do I have a motion to adopt these resolutions by consent?
Motion to adopt resolutions 2020-194 to 204 by consent.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langgraf?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Next, we have to approve our bills and payrolls. Al Stanley, our CFO, will you please give us the amounts?
Yes, for payroll, it's $521,880.00. And our bill list for this period is $1,353,882.62.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve bills and payroll stated by our CFO?
Motion to approve bills and payroll.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langgraf?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Okay, next I have announcements / safety report. Do we have anything on that?
Nope. Nothing.
Nope. Okay. Next we have commissioner comments and reports. Can I just start that off real quick? If you don't mind. Real quick. In the governor's executive order, the outside gatherings will be increased to 500 by July 4th. Maybe we can think about it. We got plenty of time. Maybe reconsider having the open pier night that night for fireworks or whatever. I know with the gatherings being so small and restricted by the executive order, that was left out of our summer event calendar. I just went when I saw that it was going to be increased to 500. I thought it might be something we may want to do. Like I said, I'm just throwing it out there now.
No, I like it. I like that idea.
Yeah, so I mean, we did open pier night since we got in office 4 years ago. 4th of July, we do it for the fireworks, and we stayed away from it because of the limit of outside gatherings. But if it's going to be up to 500, I thought, why not give that to the residents and visitors of the city?
I agree.
Okay. Tim,
Yeah,
what do you think?
no, I agree. I think, it's still, people need to know that they're not comfortable in large groups. They should not go there. but for those that are, I think it's we followed the state guidelines throughout this entire crisis. I think we would do the same.
Okay, good. So Maria, then you can add that on our events.
Okay.
Okay. I'm glad I can read lips. Okay, that's all I had at this point. I just wanted to throw that out there. So, Commissioner Kriebel, any comments or reports that you'd like to give us?
Well, it's it's just briefly. Obviously, we're all the boardwalk and the beaches are starting to be open as weather improves. I was on the pier today, and the finishes are coming along. The interiors of all the bathrooms are about, I would say, a little more than 50% complete. The walls have this high durability AZAC type material up 10 feet high. The floors are all fiberglass, and the cabinetry is in, and the countertops are in a quartz material. The bowls are stainless. All the fixtures are in. I had the paint colors match to the partitions, which are all in, or being in the process of being assembled. The fans are in, the lighting is in. It's really starting to turn into a great little something we can be proud of. And I think there'll be I think waiting on the doors is the last piece that has been kind of symptomatic of construction throughout. Is a lot of those types of parts have been backward, but it really is looking great. I can't wait to hand it over to the public as a team. Everything that we did to put together. I'm really proud of it.
Looking great, Tim. I was up there earlier in the week too, and one of the biggest things is the flagpole is back up.
Yeah.
Flagpole on the pier, and Weatherby did that for us as a favor. Ed asked them, and they said, "Hey, we want to put it out here on the second bump out," and they said, "Sure, we'll take care of it for you." So that was nice of Weatherby and his team to do that for us. I can't wait. It looks unbelievably cool.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
Really nice job.
Can I jump back for 1 second? One other announcement is Monday the 15th, the City Hall will be fully staffed. We were going with the governor's executive order, splitting shifts and things like that. Public access is still not the way it was. People can come in one at a time, and they come in through the Cambridge Avenue entrance, and we're going to have somebody stationed there, correct? Maria?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then they'll get whoever they're there to see, or whatever department. Will the department go out to the resident, or will they walk them? Or they walk them to the, like, if they had to go to code, or how's it?
As I read Maria's outline and instructions, what will happen is there'll be a phone set up down there now.
Okay, good.
And they will call that particular department, and someone will come down from that department and bring the person down to code, finance,
Gotcha.
clerk's office, whatever. And
Great.
only one person will be at each window at a time.
They must wear a mask.
Must wear a mask.
We had the plexiglass put on the windows, and no admittance into offices unless there's no other way to handle it. Like, I know Jimmy had, have plans in his office and people that are bringing them in, but typically no admittance inside the offices.
Right.
It looks like the public won't be back in there until Tuesday. Monday, the staff will be back in there getting fully set up, and then Tuesday, the 16th, will be the public welcome back in with within those guidelines.
Correct.
Staff will be, self-monitoring. We've ordered some thermometers to take their temperature every day, answer a couple questions. It's each department's handling their own, and it's, they're on the honor system. So, the idea is you don't want to get a whole department sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're also looking at sneeze shields for the desks, but everything takes a little time.
Yeah, Patty was working on that today, she said.
Yeah, and we're going to go over it with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maria, thank you for all that. I know that was a lot of tedious work, but thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, excellent work.
It's a good document. You got to read it.
I did. I did.
I know Lance did right away. Damn, you were fast. Found some typos too.
If it gets down to the second page of emails, it doesn't get read. I have to do it right away.
Yeah.
Okay, so, who was talking? Okay, so I'm done.
You were talking.
Yeah, I know I was talking, you were talking. Commissioner Kriebel, did you have any other comments?
I'm covered. Thank you.
You're good. Commissioner Landgraf.
I kind of hit most of the stuff I wanted to talk about with the outside dining. Just a couple of things. One of our bigger purchases before this whole thing happened was the jet vac truck. The team today received their first training on that vehicle. That will be in action probably in the next few days. When we do it, we'll kind of make a splash about it because it's an expensive piece of equipment, but well needed in our community. So,
And it's green.
no, it is not green. It's yellow.
Yellow, that's right. It's yellow.
The rakes are lime green.
Right.
So I'll touch base on that. I think I said it a couple meetings ago. We purchased a smaller rake to rake the back beaches, south of, Richards Avenue or so. We have that back beach behind the boardwalk. Our normal size rakes were not fitting back there. So we did purchase a smaller rake to fit back in that area to clean that area so people can use that space more often with the erosion that occurred on the front of our dunes. What will happen in the fall is we will get the bids are going out actually next week for the replenishment. That'll happen this September and October for that area between our pier and the Margate Pier. A little bit of a shout out to the city of Margate. The last section of our boardwalk, our back beach, is difficult for us to get to with our rakes. So I reached out to Commissioner Amadeo, and he's going to ask his public works guys to take care of that last little section between the Martindale and Fredericksburg beach there, back beach, and they will rake that for us.
Great.
So just a little community sharing and a little help out, a little assist from Margate there. So
That's great. Thanks, Lance.
that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So we're good with that. So the next item is the public comment. So this is for the public out there. If you'd like to speak on any topic, this is the portion. When you get on, state your name and address. Do I have a motion to open public comment?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now open to the public.
Okay, anybody from the public? I know Mr. Kreischer's here and he had asked to speak first, so I am unmuting him now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So as soon as I figure out how to use this thing, everybody be back to normal and we'll be in the commission chambers. But thanks, Jim. I want to thank the mayor and commissioners and any of the staff members that provided the answers to my questions. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Commissioner Landgraf, well, all of you, I'm glad that you're working on continuing to look at other options to try to help our business people during this time with the outdoor seating. But you mentioned the concrete barriers. Is it possible to use those plastic barriers that the city has now?
Yeah, no. Those plastic barriers will not stop a vehicle. What we did, I talked to both city engineer Ed Stinson and Chief Biaggi, Police Chief Biaggi, for input there. So you'll see coming up in the next few days at Annette's, she is going to have some outdoor seating in her parking lot. Those orange and white barriers that the city has are very light. They're for really just kind of letting people, blocking streets off if it's a flood or something like that. They will not stop a car. What I talked to Cheryl about was, and she purchased them already, are similar barrels to that, but they are water fillable. She can put them in place, fill them with water, and she's going to use them in her parking lot to block off any vehicles that are moving slower. They're parking, they're pulling into the driveway. So that's what she's going to do. And Chief Biaggi was okay with that, as was City Engineer Ed Stinson. In a street situation, you need a concrete barrier. Cars are moving 20, 25, Atlantic Avenue a little faster. So we need that concrete barrier to protect those diners that would be sitting in these areas. I have to be honest, most of the restaurateurs that I spoke with were not in favor of doing something along those lines. So we put the option out there, and they are looking into it a little more on getting pricing for them on these barriers. But it's something for a public safety aspect. You would have to have the concrete barriers.
All right, thanks for your response. And then Commissioner Kriebel, with the cart on the fishing pier, did I understand that there'd be baked goods and prepared sandwiches as part of it?
That's correct. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Again,
correct.
I voiced my objection in the past to anything that may take away from the Avenue merchants. So, I've expressed that before.
Well, I appreciate that.
And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. Anybody else out there, Jim? Jim?
Nope.
Is there
Anybody else from the public have any questions or comments? Please use the raise hand function or within the chat function, and I will unmute you.
Okay. Do I have a motion to close public portion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We do not have an executive session, am I correct?
Correct. No executive session.
Thank you, Tim. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Thanks
Jim.
for tuning in. Good
Thanks,
Guys,
Tim.
have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Tim.
too.
night, Matt.
Joining us, Ernie. Al,
Thanks, everybody.
I don't think I saw anybody else out there. And that's it, right? Okay, great. Ciao.